It's getting biblical outside.
Did you just say it's getting biblical outside?
I did, yes. It's my new favourite thing when it comes to the weather.
It's getting biblical. Oh, we lost Charlie. There we go. His new phone has broken.
I just need to plug it in.
That's what she said.
There we are. Huzzah!
Look at him. Look at him all shiny and happy. Tell you
I
that.
put a Warlord shirt on as well.
Well,
I have a Beetle shirt on.
That's okay. I'm wearing an Enniskillen Comic Fest one, so it's and I really shouldn't have gone with a black T-shirt because it is bacon, and I've had to close the curtains. I've got lights on in here. I am sweating it. It's not good. I might have to run away at some point and get a glass of water because this is serious. It's like you didn't think this through, Andy. You really did. That was a good idea at the time, but not now.
Just take the T-shirt off and put the jumper back on so we can just see your beautifully shaped torso.
You don't want to see that, really, Charlie. Honestly, you don't want to see that. Nobody in this world needs to see that. I'm just thinking, I've said that I've shared this on Facebook and all, and you know what? I don't know if I did. Do you know if I did?
Well, I'm going to go and share it on Facebook. So.
You go and share it on Facebook. At least one of us will have turned up.
Yeah. I'm just going to I'm logged in, and I can see me.
I can see me. I can see my house from here.
I'll tell you what's really weird is why is it? I thought my camera was the one in front of me, but it turns out, oh no, it is. I'm just getting confused. Ignore me.
No, yeah. It does this. It's a really weird thing. It's what you see when I'm doing the side by side interviews.
Yeah.
Okay, my hands on screen are going in opposite direction than my hands are going in reality. Yeah. So it's like, and now I pass you over to Charlie, and you're not actually there. You're there for me, but you're not there for everybody at home.
Right. I want to share. Facebook's got weird. Why do they keep changing how you use Facebook?
Because you're not allowed to be happy. You're not allowed to enjoy anything. You're not allowed to be comfortable with anything. Nothing's allowed. The minute you understand it, it's broken for them, and they need to change it.
Teaching Andy how to play Blood Red Skies.
That's a generous belief that you think you're actually going to succeed to teach me. Thank you very much indeed.
And I'm gonna do really dangerous here, and I'm gonna share this into the Blood Red Skies Facebook group.
Oh, don't do that, because then they're going to know that you know even less than I do.
This is probably a bad idea, but we're gonna do it anyway.
You know what though? You shouldn't feel bad because like there's Ronnie from Mantic, and as you know, I chat to Ronnie on Monday morning, and yeah. Ronnie has purposely invited particular people to play in the big game at the weekend because he says, "Well, I don't know the rules." It's your company, Ronnie. Yeah, that's why I don't need to know the rules. Shocking
the joys
stuff.
Of being the boss.
Exactly. Well, one day that'll come for you because eventually, you know, they'll all die, and Warlord will be left to you and somebody's will.
Well,
don't know what I'm talking about. You're not even like you're gonna have to marry like John Stallard's goddaughter or something. I don't know. Which means you're gonna have to get divorced first, obviously.
Right, there we go. Shared into Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, I think I done it, but I got distracted by pictures of cats. I'll go and check again too because you know why should we be the consummate professionals when nobody else is?
Yeah, it's very true. Very true.
I think I did. I remembered to put up pictures of planes and all. Yeah, there we go. Get the hump out of your midweek funk with Warlord Games Wednesday as we head up Charlie and find out what's been happening and also take a closer look at Blood Red Skies, gameplay mechanics and some starter point. I nearly said that in one breath. So, right, let's get the important stuff out of the road because, you know, like next year you'll change the rules for this game anyway, so everything that we learned today will be irrelevant then.
We don't do that though. Like our bolt action version 2 is like bolt action version 1.5.
No, your Bolt Action version 2 is like a different game than Bolt Action 1 because it introduced templates and it drastically changed the reality of the world.
But largely it's the same game. Like it's literally just, anyway.
Significantly, it's not.
So you're one of those guys, right?
My entire club.
Where's that red button on this phone again?
You see, I didn't take you for one of those ones that can't hear the criticism. We went from about 20 people playing tournaments to, and it's only now eking up bit by bit. The important thing is they keep buying the miniatures and using them for different roles, but that doesn't matter as long as they buy the miniatures.
And look, largely that is the case, though.
Yeah, of course it is.
We're always going to sell more models than we sell books, which is just true, And there's always going to be people out there that want to play something a little bit different, unfortunately, not every game system appeals to everybody, does it?
No, it can't do.
No, of course it can't.
No, that's fine. Look, at the end of the day, Warlord Games is a miniatures company. The books are there because, you know what, we're making miniatures. We might as well throw a few books in here too.
Yeah, and I think the templates thing. I was probably on your side of the fence when we first, and I didn't work at Warlord when we made that change. But as time's gone on, as far as template rules are concerned, I think it's very straightforward. It's like you send your templates based on hitting as many people as you can, and if somebody's base is under the template, they're hit. It's like it's to the point and very straightforward. It's it makes a lot more sense than you center it around the target model that you're shooting at and blah blah blah. It's nothing. There's no nonsense like that. There's the unit. The shell is landing on that unit. You get to choose the maximum amount of people you can get that shell over the top of. I quite like that. It's a shell at the end of the day. Like, don't stand your dudes so close together. Just don't do it.
Don't all huddle behind the wall for shelter like you would.
Yeah, but the incoming fire in front of you. But that's why they had shells, because all of a sudden that bit of wall that you stood behind, that shell over the top there, don't care about that little wall in front of you as it comes whistling down over your head.
Well, look, we could stand here arguing all day about why you're wrong, but we're not going to do that because you're too nice to argue with. And the devil's advocate in me, even if I agreed with you, I would just keep arguing for badness. I'd be like, he's made a really good point there, but I can't let the side down. I'm just going to have to push on with this.
I can't let the side down.
Yeah.
Speaking of sides, you've got two planes in front of you.
I've got two planes. Now, here's a scenario for you, Charlie. Okay?
Yes.
This dude, let's call him...
Andy.
Well, I was going to say Sandra, because I quite like the name Sandra.
Okay.
See, I was trying to play both sides of the fence there, but you completely ruined it calling him Andy. No, nobody of any worth would be called that. No, this dude goes into the shop, buys Blood Red Skies, gets home, rips open the box, immediately realises he has to keep all his bits in the box and regrets that choice, but decides to press on with learning how to play Blood Red Skies.
Yes.
Now, he's not here, but we've got you and me, so... Are you making a run for the door?
The first thing I'll note is these planes don't have the dog.
Okay, just looked like a weird door moment.
Not a ghost. I'll just let that invisible man in. No, it's my dog, and he's probably going to want to go out again now that he's in, because that's what dogs do. Like, I want to be in a room. I really want to be in this room. Oh, there's nothing in here. I want to be out again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
There you go. I'm on out now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the dog out, Charlie.
Right, so your planes in front of you.
Yeah, so...
two key components.
They're missing two key components.
Yes.
Well,
they
that's
need
because
the roundels
that's because
over their
I'm new to
base.
the game and I don't know what I'm doing. So when you get your planes out of the box, you're going to want to get your roundels. See, he doesn't tell you anything, this guy.
Let's
So
grab.
here's some roundels that I prepared earlier.
Roundels. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's have a 3 and a 5. If you turn those 3s over,
as if by magic.
There you go. There's a 5.
And look, little lifeboats in the middle of them.
We call them torpedoes.
Torpedoes. So I take it that the Spitfire's getting the 5 and the Messerschmitt's getting the 3.
Of course.
I don't know. What is the that was a hint to say what the 3 and the 5 means for Bob, who just bought the game.
Yeah. So the numbers represent the skill level of the pilot. So higher being a more skilled pilot, lower being a lower skilled pilot. So at present in the game, the highest skilled pilot is an ace at 5, and the lowest skilled pilot is a rookie at 2. So the 3 is what we call a regular.
Yeah.
A 4 would be a veteran, and a 5 is an ace, a 2 being a rookie. So,
okay. So we have prepped for a veteran and a regular.
A regular, yes.
Okay, cool.
And it just so happens that you've made the German the veteran there. So the Luftwaffe pilot.
Well, I'm figuring they were in the air and fighting longer at the start, and that this is, one of our Commonwealth brethren, because I've actually painted up my Spitfires on one of the Czechoslovakian patterns.
Lovely, lovely.
See, a bit of history there, bit of history.
Yeah, and there's a chap out in the world, Misk Minis, who makes 1/200 scale decals. And I reckon you can probably, I know he does Polish ones, I'm pretty sure he does French ones, and I dare say you can, he's already on it. Look at that. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. You've had this box open a week.
Yeah, and that's not even 2 days of painting.
I hate you.
I hate me too.
I genuinely wish I could paint as fast as that.
I wish I could paint as well as people think they look.
Hey, look, dude, they look great on camera. There's nothing wrong with that. If it works on camera, then happy days.
I'm a COVID painter.
Right. So let's look at a bit of movement. Have you either got? There we go. You've got a movement stick. In fact, I tell you what. Punch me a movement stick.
Bad movement stick.
Yeah, punch me out the little firing stick, which is the next stick, the other stick. Punch me out the calipers. Or the compass. There we go. Well, actually, we could do with a couple of wings as well. Let's have 2 wings and a couple of the wings being the things that look like wings. Yeah. And a couple of the boom chits, which are the blast marker looking things.
He's talking to a wee gamer. That's why he explained what wings look like.
That'll do. Lovely.
That us. Okay.
So let's shift the wings out the way and the boom chits out the way for the time being. And let's set up a little scenario. Let's set up the but in fact, I tell you what, set the planes up any way you like on the board, as long as they are, reasonably far apart. So let's say 12 inches.
Let's see. If I put him here,
yeah,
and if I put him like here,
that'll work perfect.
That is on camera the furthest I can have them apart.
Yeah, that's
I can go a bit further apart, but then you get to see my socks with holes in them.
Oh, I think actually the Spitfire is just out. You have to move. I think you've got it.
Sorry. Do you know what? This is the danger of having multiple screens, and in a very unprofessional manner, I was looking at the wrong screen. But I think what's actually happening, what's dawned on me there is the peeps at home are maybe not seeing what we're doing here, because I think you and I are actually getting a bigger. You and I are getting a bigger bit of footage than they are. So bear with me, and I'll see.
Reduce the retail space that my head's taking up.
Yeah, I'm going to make your head and my head smaller, but I forgot to resize the camera. Sorry, folks. Just give me a little second. You take another swig of your man brew there.
A bit of product placement for Pepsi Max there.
They need the help, mate. They need the help. Right, I'm going to make you and I a lot smaller. It's great that but this is also fascinating. Like, 6 months ago, I couldn't have done this with you.
It is fascinating, and I love the fact that you're doing it with some blood red skies as well, and the fact that you've in a week painted 6 109s and 6 Spitfires.
I've nearly finished the Black Seas as well.
If I didn't know, outside of that little bit of hobby, you weren't a very busy man. I would be bending your arm into painting some stuff for me right now.
Look, there we go. The picture that the world's seeing now should be an awful lot, because I forgot, you and I are actually looking at a shared Zoom screen, which isn't quite the same as what boys and girls at home are getting to watch. Now the boys and girls at home can see the exact same thing as you and I are looking at.
Well, I think what is really cool though, the Zoom screen and the feed on YouTube. So the YouTube thing I've got on the screen here, and I've got the Zoom screen in front of me, so I can see what I'm when I'm talking to you. But the Zoom screen, sorry, the YouTube screen, the clarity is insanely good,
isn't it?
Whereas Zoom's like, you don't need to see this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pixelate the behind out of it. Whereas YouTube's like, you really need to see this. This is beautiful.
Look at my shiny water effect.
Yeah.
Now I should bring on more planes. So sorry about that delay there, folks, and I apologise for everyone at home who's now having to look at the little bit of iPad. I can move that a little bit so it's not annoying your eyes. There we go. You can sort of see the little bit of iPad control screen. Right, so Spitfire, Messerschmitt, they're set up opposite sides, kind of minding their own business. It's a Wednesday afternoon, and everyone's happy over the White Cliffs of Dover. Right,
have you got some of the lovely bolt action D6s? Sorry, Blood Red Skies D6s.
If you mean, do I have this bag of cool stuff? Yes.
Excellent. Right. I need you to roll 1 for the Spitfire and 1 for the 109.
Okay, so that everyone knows at home that I'm not cheating, here's the D6 for the Spitfire. We got a 2.
Okay, I'll tell you what that means in a second.
And the 109 got a 2.
I've got a 2 as well. Okay, so when you start in the game, you need to set the advantage level of the planes.
Okay.
And you do that by tipping the plane backwards and forwards on their base. They've got that lovely little click and go. So
just for Jimmy and Susan and one at home, this is what it means here. The little base actually does that. Okay. So that means they're climbing, which means they're tilted back.
No, they are. That means they are disadvantaged. So 1 and 2 is disadvantaged.
Okay.
3 and 4 is neutral. 5 and 6 is advantaged. So both planes are starting disadvantaged.
Oh, well, that's kind of fair.
Yeah. So normally the way activation would work, you would go through the advantage levels one at a time, from advantage, neutral, disadvantage, through the pilot skill from highest to lowest.
Now, bearing in mind that we are trying to gear this towards Bob, who literally knows nothing about this, I'm going to show him the quick reference sheet to the people at home.
Good man. Good man.
So there's the quick reference sheet. What Charlie's talking about here is the activation order, and you can see that it's got advantaged, neutral, and disadvantaged, and then the color of disc and the number dictates who gets to go in what order. So it couldn't be simpler for you.
It is super simple, and once you get used to it, it's such a great way of determining the activation of the planes, because it will change throughout the game. It means 1 minute I could be activating 2 or 3 planes at once. and then it could mean I'm acting one after you after another, and it gets really quite dynamic, which is really lovely. It also lends itself to a multiplayer game as well, so that if you wanted to bring a squadron of Spitfires, you've got a mate that wants to bring a squadron of Hurricanes, and then I've got 6 to 12 109s. We can have a 3-player game, and we'll all be activating at different times and stuff as well. So I really like the activation of it. So both the planes are starting disadvantaged. So we've gone through the advantage planes, we've gone through the neutral planes, we're down to the disadvantaged planes. The 109 is an ace, so he's going to activate before the Spitfire, which is a regular. Now, have you got the stat cards you can pull up to show us?
I do, because I haven't lost anything yet.
Good man.
So, stat cards.
Not that one.
There we go. BF-109 and the Spitfire.
Yes, great. So you'll see they've got 3 stats, very straightforward. You've got the shoot or the firepower of the plane, which is the top one. You've then got the maneuverability of the plane, which is the middle one, and then you've got the speed of the plane, which is the bottom one. So what we're looking at right now is the movement. So before you do anything, you would choose whether you wanted to burn your advantage. Now, neither plane has any advantage to burn because they're currently disadvantaged, so we can skip past that for the time being and move straight into movement. So the BF-109 has a movement of 7, which means it can move 7 inches. So that's basically placing the measuring stick, whether you're using a tape measure, a ruler, or this measuring guide, and you can move that plane from the 1 all the way to just in front of the 7, which is your 7 inches.
Now, can I just ask, does it matter distance of planes? I mean, I take it everyone in this, you're kind of metagaming, and I know your planes are over there, so I can move in your direction type of thing.
Yes, yeah. The only way you won't know where the planes are is if there's clouds on the board. We'll tackle that in a later.
Oh, yeah, no, that's cool. So I've moved to the 7's just behind me like that there, and I take it that little semicircle's where I rest my bum.
That's correct, yeah. Like I say, you might find it when you're playing games with more planes, a tape measure is a lot easier because you can kind of slot the tape measure in and around dog fights. But for the time being, we're using the little measuring stick. So you then have up to a 45-degree turn you can make at the end of your move. And that's what those calipers are for. So if you line the front arrow of the base up with the one of the arrows on the calipers, you can just turn it through from one arrow to the next. That's your full 45-degree turn. Now, you don't have to use the whole turn. You can use a small amount. It's up to you.
Oh, I like that.
Nice and easy.
I like that. Yeah.
So you don't have to move the full 7, but you've always got to move. Worst case, you can move half your speed rounded up. So for these 2 planes, their minimum move is 4 inches. Again, nice and straightforward, just half rounded up. So the 109's finished its movement. It's then got a pilot action to make. Now, it's got 3 choices of pilot action. That is to shoot if there's anybody in range to shoot. There's not. Then to outmaneuver. So if there's anything within 9 inches, you could try and outmaneuver a plane. I would say you're outside of 9 inches.
Yeah.
So the only other option you've got is to climb your plane. So you're basically moving it from disadvantaged to neutral. You can only ever climb and move your advantage level up by 1 level at a time. But that's him done. So what we do is we'd stick one of those wings next to the 109, and that's to say that he's activated.
Oh, nice. Right. Little activation tokens.
Exactly.
And then you're probably going to bring us out little nation-specific ones.
Maybe one day. We're more focused on getting more planes out there at the moment.
Yeah. Lancasters.
So the Spitfire's got a turn to move. and I'm going to make the decision that the Spitfire is going to move 4 inches and make a 45-degree turn to its left.
Now, does the plane, just to check, there's a little indicator on the front of the ruler here. I take it that must line up with the arrow on the front of.
Correct.
Right.
You're always moving in a dead straight line.
Okay, and you want to move 4.
4, yeah.
Okay, so move you 4, and then you want to turn
45 degrees to the left of the plane.
Okay.
And I will also climb up to neutral.
Ooh. Sound effects are free.
Okay, so I suppose the plane's activated. So you remove the wings.
Oh, right.
And we go to turn 2. So because we've both done the same thing, the activation sequence is going to be exactly the same this time.
Okay.
Now, you do have an option to burn your advantage at the start of your turn. Now, what that would mean is you go from whatever advantage level you are down a level. So you go from neutral to disadvantaged. What it gives you is either some extra speed, so you're diving, or some extra maneuverability. So you're using that advantage to gain a bit of an extra movement. So normally you can only make a move at the end of your movement. If you choose to burn advantage and use that for maneuverability, you can make a move, or maneuver a turn at any point during your turn.
Okay.
So, and instead of it being only a 45-degree turn, it's now up to 180 degrees.
Ooh.
So, making it a lot more maneuverable. But you are burning advantage. You're giving away some of your advantage to do that. So, I would say at this moment, that's probably not the right thing to do.
No.
Because you're only neutral.
I'm thinking at the moment the right thing to do. I'm sort of bearing in mind that you're a sneaky Spitfire and all the rest of it. I think I kind of need to slow down and start turning because I think you're gonna go a little bit and try to get round behind me. So I need to slow down now so that I can get opening up the machine guns on you.
Cool.
So I am going to move. Have to move half my speed. So that means I have to move at least 3.
4 inches.
I have to move 4. So I'm going to move 4. And do a turn, do not. Do a turn, do not, because you might only. Well, no, you have to move at least 4.
Yes.
And then you're going to have to turn. So I'm going to turn. I'm going to turn a little bit. I'm going to try and edge my bets, and I'm turning about.
Yeah, good man. That's what I would have done.
I'm turning about half my 45 degrees. There we go. And then I put my wings on.
Now, before you do that, before you complete your turn, your activation, as it were, you've got a pilot action to make.
Oh, yes.
So you've got 2 choices now, because you're still not in range to shoot. So that's what that little stick there is going to tell you. Though it might be. I don't know if you wanted to check.
Oh, that'd be naughty. That'd be naughty to check. Leave it to the last minute.
Well, you can check. There's pre-measuring is okay, so you're allowed to check. You're definitely within range, but I'm not currently within your. Well, I probably am within your front 45-degree arc. Actually,
just outside. But
however, let's say I was in arc and you hadn't made that turn, you still wouldn't be able to draw a bead on me because we're both at the same advantage level.
Right.
To shoot at a plane, you have to be at a higher advantage level.
So I would be better now spent trying to get another advantage level.
Well, you've got 2 options.
Oh.
So you could climb to be an advantage, giving you maximum advantage level. I could still potentially do that same thing in my activation.
Yeah.
Your alternative would be to try and outmaneuver my plane. So if, for example, if I'm within 9 inches, which I know I am because that measuring stick is 6 inches, you can you fly in and you flick your wings one way and actually go the other way, and it's that kind of stuff that they would use those tricks to put off an enemy pilot. So you flown in, you flicked your wings. Now, if we were the same pilot level or lower, I would get a chance to try and resist that outmaneuver by making a maneuver test. But because you're a higher pilot skill than I am, it happens automatically. So you make the maneuver action, the outmaneuver action. So, right, I'm outmaneuvering this Spitfire, and I'm immediately dropped down to disadvantage.
Oh, do that then. I'll outmaneuver you. You
There you go,
British
yeah.
swine dog.
Right. So I'll let you go ahead and do that, and I'll just explain. Obviously, if there was more planes about, we were currently activating in the neutral phase.
Right.
So my plane would have theoretically been going next, but let's say there's another veteran pilot that was disadvantaged. Because I'm now disadvantaged, that 4-skill pilot would go next. Because you've just dropped me down the chain of activations by outmaneuvering my plane. So you can see how with multiple planes, you can 1 minute you could have been activating next with a plane, the next minute you could be activating last because someone's flown in, outmaneuvered you, and changed your advantage level.
Okay, right. I like that. So for me to outmaneuver you, I compare stars. I'm higher, so you end up. I now tilt your plane down because I have outmaneuvered you, and you're now disadvantaged.
Correct.
Nice, but I don't have to physically move my plane. It's kind of symbolic.
Yes.
Right. I like that.
So now my options are limited because I have no advantage to burn again. Had I wanted to. So what I'm going to do is this time I'm going to fly my full 7 inches.
Sneaky.
And I want to get as far past you as I can get, which is unfortunately not very far.
7 is right in front of me, dude.
Yeah. But what I will do with my pilot action, I want to turn 45 degrees to my right.
To your right or your plane's right?
To the plane's right, sorry.
There we go.
And I'll climb up to neutral.
So now we're at the same thing, yeah.
So we're the same again, but I wasn't able to do anything to I couldn't have climbed to advantage level. And I also, you stopped me from being able to burn any advantage. So we take those wings off. We go into turn 3. And it's going to be your ace first again, because again, highest level to lowest, we're both neutral. You hit me because you're level 5 and I'm level 3. This time, you've got a decision to make.
Yeah, because I could pop a shot at you.
Well, you can't because I've climbed.
Oh.
And we're both neutral.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is we're thinking a couple of turns ahead. We're building up the movement and what we're doing. So
I could burn my advantage to be able to do the 180 maneuver so that when I move this time, I can get right onto your tail in preparation for the next turn.
Exactly right, yes.
Yay!
And you can see it's quite an intuitive system. Like if you understand a little bit about, aerial combat, the best place to be is on someone's tail. And the worst place to have somebody is on your tail. So that's exactly right. So what you do is you would drop your advantage level to disadvantage.
Okay.
You would fly in your straight line over the top, up to 7 inches. It could be you only travel 5 inches. Perhaps.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to want to stay fairly close to you for this to work. In fact, if I go the 4.
Yeah, perfect.
And then take that away, and then I get to do
180. You don't need the calipers for this one because you're literally just spinning around.
He's literally just swapping direction completely. So there we go. He has got. You could get better on your tail, but that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Now, there is such a thing as tailing, and if you were, which you could be, pointing your arrow directly into the center of my base, you could be classed as tailing. But because you're disadvantaged at the present, at the end of your movement, you can't tail a plane. But again, this is all thinking about where we're going to be in a couple of turns' time. The right thing to do now is climb your plane up to neutral and end your turn. So you've swooped in behind me. You're getting ready to draw a bead. you're bringing yourself up to a more advantaged position, and now the pressure is on me to get away.
Oh, hang on. Should really just bring some clouds in past the picture there to simulate. Look, special effects as if we're actually flying.
I think that the big Andy hand takes away from the.
Well, there we go. We can't have everything. We're working on a budget of nothing here.
Right, so it's my turn. I'm not in a terrible position because I still have some advantage there. And what I'll do is I'll move my guy forward. I'll move him his 7 inches.
Yep.
I will turn 45 to his right.
Yep.
And theoretically, I should still be within 9 inches because I've only moved 7, and I was definitely within 2 inches of you. Now I could climb to advantage level, meaning I go first next turn. I don't want to do that because this is going to become like the OK Corral. We're going to be flying round and around the board. What I want to do is show you how the game plays. So I'm going to try and outmaneuver your plane.
Okay.
But because I'm of a lower pilot skill than you, you get a chance to avoid that maneuver. So making tests in Blood Red Skies, you basically grab a number of d6 equal to the level of pilot skill, which is 5, and then the level of statistic you're rolling against. So we're talking about your maneuverability. So you're trying to withstand my outmaneuver. So it comes down to your agility and your awareness. Mm-hmm. So you've got a pilot skill of 5, and then you've got a maneuverability of 3. So you need 8 dice total.
There we go.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
You're going to roll those 8 dice, and you're looking for a single 6 as a success, which is one of the 8 symbols.
I got 2.
Good man. Good man. So you withstand that outmaneuver. I failed to outmaneuver your plane, which is bad news for me. So we're going to turn 4, where you're going first, again, because we're both neutral, and you're a higher pilot skill than me. So I imagine what you'll be doing is flying straight forward as fast as you can.
Yeah, I can't do an awful lot more to that because we're the same. You spent an advantage last turn to do that outmaneuver, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
No, we didn't. No, that was just your pilot action.
Correct, yeah.
Right, got you now. So, can't quite fit in there. But I see no reason at all not to literally fly up into your face. So, I will go to the 7. Yeah, I don't see any need to turn or that. Well, do, because I have to think about the next turn. I have to think about where you're going to going, not where you are. So if I do a little bit of a turn again.
Well, what I'm thinking is if we slide you slightly to the left of your plane, just kind of manipulate this a tiny bit.
Okay.
Now, I mean, it's tight, but let's imagine for a second my plane was twisted slightly so that I'm showing more of my tail to you. Because what I really want to show here.
Well, because we're actually supposed to be showcasing this, people, not just literally having fun and playing a game.
Yeah. And I think with more planes on the board, this kind of scenario would create itself quite quickly, because you would probably use your aids to fly in and outmaneuver one of my lower level planes, and then you'd bring in one of your rookies or one of your regulars to reap the rewards of your ace kind of flying in and disrupting my squadron. So let's say this is where we're at. You're now on my tail within 6 inches of my rear 45-degree arc. my plane immediately drops its advantage level to disadvantage, regardless of what advantage level I was at. So even if I was advantaged, you would go all the way down to disadvantage because, like I said before, the worst place to have somebody is directly on your tail.
Yeah, knocking on your back door, not a good thing.
No, not at all. Now it's cost you nothing. It's just it's the reward for manoeuvring yourself into a position where you are on someone's tail. So you finish your move, you're going into your pilot action, you can choose to climb for advantage, you can choose to outmaneuver, or if you really, 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 really want to, you can have a shot.
I think everyone would like to see us having a shot, so we will have a shot. Braca, braca, braca.
Yeah. So again, you want your pilot skill of 5 dice. You then need the firepower of the plane, which is 1 dice. And you're looking for a single 6 to score a success.
What happens if we get 6 successes? Oh, I dropped a dice. None! 1!
One. Fortunately. If you get more than 1, it's classed as a critical.
Right.
And what that does is it affects my pool of dice when I'm rolling to try and avoid those shots coming in. So this is where Blood Red Skies gets a little bit more symbolic, like you said earlier on, rather than I've scored a hit, so I have hit your plane. It's not that. You've fired a shot off that is successfully putting me under pressure.
Yeah.
So I now get a chance to try and avoid those incoming shots.
Okay, yep.
So I have a pilot skill of 3. I have a maneuverability of 3. So I'm rolling 6 dice to try and avoid that incoming shot.
I'm putting as much effort into this roll. Oh.
There we go. Excellent. Right. Good result because this allows us to show 2 things. So if you score a successful shot, it puts a boom chit on the player. So you pop it on top of the Spitfire card because it doesn't go on the plane; it goes on the player.
Yes, that would make more sense because it would be flying all over the table.
Yeah, and what we're talking about here, what this is representing, is the pressure that you are putting on me as a squadron leader. So it's not the plane itself, but the pressure that I'm under. So it's just a hit that scores that first level of pressure.
Yeah.
So if I had, let's say I've got 3 planes on the table at the moment, I can afford to take 3 boom chits before my squadron is going to break. Okay. When I get that 4th boom chit, the squadron breaks, it heads home. It doesn't like how things are going. But because I failed to avoid that incoming shot, I would normally lose an advantage level. But because I'm already disadvantaged, I've got no advantage to lose, which means, unfortunately, I'm heading right down into that deep blue sea of the channel, and I've lost that plane.
So just so this is abundantly clear in my head, you can take a number of boom tokens equal to the number of planes that you've got on the table.
Correct.
But regardless, boom token also means that the targeted plane has to lose an advantage level.
The boom token is actually just representing the shot fired.
Right.
The plane losing its advantage level is when it's failed to avoid that shot.
Right. So roll to shoot. Roll to see if you can evade. The boom token's generated by a successful roll here, but the advantage is lost or maintained by a success or a failed roll here. Correct. And if you don't have an advantage to lose, it's bye-bye aircraft into the deep blue.
Indeed. Okay. And when you lose that aircraft, you also gain another boom token, boom chit. So it's losing planes is a bad thing in Blood Red Skies.
Yeah.
You can actually win a game without shooting any planes down. All you need to do is score some successful hits. It's not always easy to do because you can only fire within your front 45-degree arc, and someone's got to be within 6 inches and at a lower pilot level. So it's very much a game of thinking a couple of turns ahead, using your whole squadron to maybe bully and pick on a single plane or a couple of planes. If you can single people out and you can pull planes away from the rest of the squadron by, maybe flying that rookie out as a bit of a distraction and a bit of a lure, and so on and so forth. And that'll give you a much more kind of feel of how the game is designed to play.
No, I get that. The one thing that immediately jumps in my head, though, and I can totally now see how the sort of the squadron play is going to be fun. But if you guys end up throwing in even one of the slightly larger planes that has like a tail gun or a turret gun, the dynamic of how you need to think about fighting totally changes.
Well, you've got the Bolton Paul Defiant, okay? So the Bolton is it's an awful plane. Its statistics are dreadful. However, the one thing it does have is a turret, and it's a rear-facing turret. And like I say, all of a sudden, I have got to worry about shots coming in, because if you do me a favour, spin that Spitfire around 180. So drop it down to disadvantage. So he's disadvantaged. You're neutral. You've flown in, and actually, Charlie, I want to shoot at that Spitfire. Yeah, that's fine. You can shoot that Spitfire. But because you're face to face, it's the only time a plane can shoot at another plane that is at a higher advantage level, because I can return fire now. There's no way a plane and a pilot, with a 109 bearing down on him, firing rounds and rounds at him, he's not gonna pull the trigger back and have a go back.
Yeah.
And I've seen that at times, end up where an ace has flown in, having a shot face to face with a rookie. He's scored a successful hit, but the rookie has then scored a successful hit back on the ace, and the dynamic changes completely. But that's the trade-off of firing face to face. If you fire on someone's side arc, instead of them using their maneuverability to avoid the shot, they take their pilot skill and their speed. So for example, that regular pilot, that 3-skill pilot, would be rolling 10 dice to avoid that incoming shot, because he's a harder target to hit then. He's flying straight past you. But you still got a chance to score a boom chit by scoring a successful shot, which is literally just, it's piling on the pressure onto that plane, and as a result, that squadron. And it's a game about just constantly building pressure on your opponent. It's not a game about completely shooting down all your opponent's planes.
No, it's not World of Fighter Craft. I'm nearly going to say it's slightly more stylized.
Yes.
Yeah. This what you're describing to me here almost, and don't slap me around the back of the head, but it would almost put me in mind of Memoir 44, which is a stylized World War II board game. And it's even the fact that the climbing and diving, you immediately see the planes and you think, oh, that plane's climbing, that plane's diving. No, stop thinking like that. We're using the symbolism that you're familiar with, but it means something different within the terms of the game.
And what's really nice is, I think when you hold the base for the first time, you think, oh, well, that's climbing. He's actually at a bit of a disadvantage because his belly's on show, etc. But then when you put it down on the table, disadvantage makes sense to be pointing down, because it looks like the plane's, being, forced down, which is, it's quite nice. It makes sense when it's on the tabletop, which is cool.
I immediately now want to make little clip-on smoke trails for when they start taking boom tokens to put onto the wings.
Somebody do that. Yeah. There's a Facebook group called the Blood Red Skies Ready Room, and somebody had used pipe cleaners and had bent them over so that and painted them so that you just like pulled them over the wings, and they look fantastic.
That's what I'm on tonight.
Really, really cool.
Dude, for one thing that I never like to chase you away, but I'm just remembering here, you've got your Twitch in like 8 minutes.
I know. I will have to dash.
Right, listen, you just go, and I'll finish talking to the beautiful people. Dude, that's really appreciated. Hopefully that has brought it home for everybody. Yeah. Run away, and I'll keep talking for a couple more minutes just than hanging up the phone in the world. You run and deal with your problem.
Promise to people what we're going to do next week, because I'm committed to doing that.
That's exactly what I'm going to talk to him about now, and you're using valuable seconds. You need to have a wee.
3 planes each, and we'll get. I'm looking forward to it.
All right,
we'll
no
love you,
probs.
Lydia.
Catch
I
you
will
later,
catch you
mate.
later,
Bye
Dave.
bye. Go on, go away. There we go. He's gone now. Close that down. Close the messenger. There we go. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, folks. That was well, okay. So last week we sort of looked at Blood Red Skies and we said, "Isn't it pretty? Isn't it lovely?" And as Charlie correctly says, over the week I have painted all of Blood Red Skies. I really have painted it. They've all got their details, their details. Same thing. I'll throw these onto the table for you before it disappear, just in case you're interested. Literally am throwing them onto the table. So yeah, next week, what Charlie and I are going to do is we'll build on that with a little 3-plane action. But I'm going to make him bring his own dice next week. It's stressful enough moving somebody else's planes for them when they're not allowed to touch them. Well, they can't touch them really. But what we'll do is we'll do a little 3-on-3 plane action to let people get a look at that. So it's not even a look at it. We're going to have a game. We've worked very hard over this lockdown, and we have done our bit both on Facebook videos and Twitch and all the rest of it to entertain and distract the masses as best we can. So we're going to have a bit of hair down next week and play a game, but we will make the screen as big as we can for you. I'll make the table as big as I can as well, and we'll try and do that. So there we go. Blood Red Skies, the battle next week. If you've enjoyed that, check out the other vids. Have a look at the other unboxings. We do the Mantic Mondays, doing the Warlord Wednesdays, doing Crooked Dice 7 TV on a Saturday. There's a few other things tucked in there as well you might enjoy. They'll be interviewing that. Give us a like if you can. Give us a subscribe if you can. Tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your brother, tell your neighbour down the street. Get them to give us a subscribe too, because it's lovely. It's like getting hugged without having to touch each other, because we're not allowed to. No more touching. Not like ever, but certainly for some considerable time. Unless you can manage to do it from 2 feet away. Listen, it's been a ball. Really enjoyed that tonight. Thanks to Charlie. Thanks to Warlord Games. And it is time to roll credits. See you in the long grass. Be safe and be kind to each other.